Welcome to Radio Express World News, presented by Vibha Ramesh, Los Angeles, United States. The protests in Chicago, United States, snowballed into a serious encounter between officers and demonstrators over the weekend, even as city authorities were parallelly coping with a rise in coronavirus cases. One county in particular is currently averaging 640 new known cases of coronavirus per day, although Mayor Lori Lightfoot declined to link the surge to the protests in the city. According to him, the spike is attributed to interstate travel and the spreading of the virus by young people. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has specific plans for the distribution of a coronavirus vaccine, which is expected to be available by end 2020 or early 2021. In effect, the agency is consulting with California, Florida, Minnesota, North Dakota, and Philadelphia in Pennsylvania, each of which brings to table a different demographic, ethnic makeup, and population density. Meanwhile, Californians are bracing a deadly heat wave coupled with the wildfires and the rising positivity toll of COVID-19. There exists reason for doubt whether people are following the mandated quarantine in New York that requires travelers to quarantine for 14 days upon entering the state. Sources have it that people are able to evade the mandated rule owing to the absence of broad enforcement. Another testing strategy was announced on Saturday as the FDA authorized a saliva-based test to detect the virus. Moving on, South Korea faces a resurgence of infections as health officials reported 279 new cases on Sunday. The surge is associated with a church that has vocally opposed President Moon Jae-in. The country that had once maintained its caseloads in two-digit figures is now seeing a spike as many of the infected were worshippers at the Sarangjeel Church in Seoul and another church in the neighboring province. As the president warned of the surge, health officials are promptly and quickly testing thousands of church members and their contacts. And in Italy, discos and clubs are closing down as infections inch their way upwards, especially among the younger crowd. The current spate of infections has prompted authorities to order the shutting down of dancing establishments as well as impose mask wearing in outdoor spaces from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. in popular gathering spots. Italy's health minister Roberto Speranza's comment on the crisis on Facebook read, "We cannot nullify the sacrifices made in past months." Meanwhile, in the land down under, a state of emergency has been declared in Victoria until September 13th. The move was mandated as Australia witnesses a second wave of infections, with Victoria being the hotspot. Subsequently, health officials in the country are contemplating various safety measures, including quarantining people and restricting movement along with other lockdown measures in a bid to contain the virus. As of Sunday, Victoria recorded 279 new cases and 16 deaths. And its neighbor, New Zealand, reported 13 new cases, all but one of them locally transmitted. Further, New Zealand's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern announced the postponement of the general election from September 19th to October 17th. India could be entering a new phase as infections are on the rise in rural India, which has limited access to healthcare facilities. That said, India still has the lowest mortality rate as it reached 50,000 deaths in 156 days, whereas the United States hit the same toll in 23 days. Besides effectual treatment in hospitals, measures like non-invasive oxygen support and supervised home isolation have helped in keeping the fatality rate in check. Meanwhile, data has it that Karnataka has been reporting its fatalities very late, which gives rise to suspicion of underreporting. Moving on, South Africa will be relaxing its alert status to level 2 as the country experiences a dip in new single-day cases from 12,000 to around 5,000. In effect, the country will move down to level 2 lockdown starting Monday midnight. Other restrictions that will be eased due to the dip include lifting of bans on the sale of tobacco and alcohol, opening of travel between provinces, and permission for bars, restaurants, and taverns to return to normal business, provided strict hygiene regulations are adhered to. In Brazil, the number of new one-day cases of COVID-19 climbed up to 23,101 on Sunday, taking the overall tally to 3,340,197. And, according to the Health Ministry, the death toll reached 620 in a 24-hour period. Adding these numbers to the existing number of deaths takes the death toll to 107,852, also making Brazil having the world's second worst COVID-19 outbreak after the United States. Ending this news report with France, Sunday recorded 236 coronavirus infection clusters, even as the daily case count of confirmed cases rose by 3,015. This means Sunday was the second consecutive day to record infections surpassing 3,000 mark. The cluster infection is now being investigated in the country. Data fetched from hospitals and nursing homes takes the total death toll to 30,410. With that, we come to the end of this news bulletin. Thank you for joining us. Please stay tuned for the next program on Radio Express. To receive Radio Express English news and English programs in your WhatsApp, please send a WhatsApp message, English programs, to 90727 95547. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Radio Express. Thank you.